If it will look that well, I'd be satisfied with that. This is the craziest thing I've ever tried, but I've only done the one side. I can take it back off and we can figure out something different. Welcome back to part 5, 1949 Crosley model 9-424-B. If you've been along on this journey, I appreciate you watching the previous videos. Now, we left off in part 4. We had put new veneer on the top. Before I attempt to put any kind of a color and a shellac on this cabinet, I need to get this top, which is just bare wood, of course, new veneer. I need to get it to match somewhat to the sides and the front. This is a Minwax stain and a sealer, and the color is natural. That color is really close to the rest of the cabinet. If we look at the front here, it matches really good. So I'm going to finish the top up, and then I'm going to put a coat on the sides and the front also. That way we'll have one uniform color, hopefully. Well, not too good. Doesn't suit me. While the top is uniform because it's new wood. Shows up where I need to do some more sanding. Now, see, this area in spots looks okay. And the frame, for the most part, except the joints, didn't get all the old finish off. And I think that's what it's going to take. See those? So we need to do a lot more sanding and basically get all the finish off down to the bare wood. Same way on the sides. You can see where the finish is gone there at the top, but as you look at the lower part, there's still a lot of the old finish there. Not going to leave it like that. This side's even worse. You can see very splotchy. As I've said a couple of times in previous videos, I'm not a professional woodworking finisher or refinisher. I know how to strip finish off, and I know how to put another finish on, but there's a lot more to it to know than that. So we're going to get the sander out and see if we can make it look better. These legs had a lot of water stains, so I thought it would be easier just to pull them off. Put them on the belt sander. A lot better. And reattach the 4 legs, and we'll put a finish on those when we do the cabinet finish. Well, here's what I've come up with for the finish. First, I'll get the cabinet completely stripped down to where it's just no finish left on the outside. Then we're going to paint it. This is called Heirloom White. And then I'll take some fine sandpaper and sand it just lightly, just to scuff it up a little. Then we're going to put the amber shellac over the top of that. Now, this is an experiment that I've just finished. This is over the top of some slightly stained wood, like the top will be. But we painted it white first. We let that dry, and then we went back with the amber shellac. And I think that gives it that blonde look. Here's just the amber shellac. You can see how it lightens it up. That's what we want. I have this side pretty much ready to try that on. I need to wash it off with some water, get it clean. We're going to do this side, see what it looks like, and hopefully it'll suit us, and then we can do the rest of the set. This is the craziest thing I've ever tried, but we'll come back, put some shellac on, and then we'll decide. If I don't like it, I've only done the one side, I can take it back off and we can figure out something different. All right, it's a go. This is 3 coats of shellac on the first side there. Every coat I put on, it got a little darker. So we'll probably put a couple more coats, maybe more than that. I'm just gonna keep putting them on until it gets to the shade that I like. But that's getting really close. And here I have the white paint on the top and the side. Now I did thin the paint out. I've got 6 ounces of paint, 1 ounce of water. This is latex paint. So it goes on kind of runny, but so that's the technique. 400 grit sandpaper, sticky back, and not putting much pressure at all, just letting the paper do the work. I'm putting 2 coats of shellac on before I do any sanding. And the way I'm doing that, I'm putting the first coat on, don't let it dry, let it get just a little sticky, and then put a second coat on. Then we let both coats dry. Then I do some fine sanding with some 400 grit paper, and then put a couple of more coats on. By doing it this way, I'm hoping I can get to the shade that I want eventually. It may take several coats to do that, but that's my goal. Here I'm doing the fine sanding that I mentioned after a couple of coats of shellac have dried. And then once I get it sanded, we'll put 2 more coats on and see what the shade looks like then. Yellow was a little too bright, so I mixed yellow and some terracotta. I'm okay with the final result. Not quite as blonde as I had hoped, but there's a trick to getting that true blonde finish, and I just don't know the trick. It's really different than any other set that I have in my collection, so I'm okay with it. I'm going to get this back up in the basement as quick as the rain stops, because we had some pretty heavy rain this morning, and I don't want to be carrying it out in the rain, so we'll wait till it stops. Well, the rain let up, and I was able to get the cabinet back up here in the basement shop. So we're going to be finishing everything here. Here's the Crosley decal that goes right in the center of the picture tube, and then it's centered from top to bottom of the wood. So we'll get that put on. And here I put a piece of masking tape with a black mark that marks the center, and the bottom of the decal goes on the top edge of the tape. So that keeps it straight. All we need to do now is to get the water off of it. And there it is, all dried and looking good. Now we'll put in the speaker backing board and the grill cloth. And these are the original straight slot screws. We'll just be reusing them. And I do believe this to be the original grill cloth. Now we can put the speaker in. And because we have that jack on the speaker, we want to turn it to the right. That way it'll be as close to the chassis as possible. And using the 4 original 1/4-inch head nuts with lock washers. Next we'll put on the glass and that front board that trims out the picture tube. And here it is laying over here. There are screws I just left in it so I wouldn't lose them. Okay. Now I'll wipe off that glass on the inside in case I got some fingerprints on it. Now we'll put on the channel surround. You remember we left the nuts on the back of this, 1/4-inch nuts. Everything's going back in place like it should. And a test fit at the back. Got to touch this up and then probably spray it with a little bit of clear. I think we have several screws missing too. Like there's 4, 5, 6. I need 6 more. One, 2, 3, 4. Well, we have 4, so just missing 2. This is the inside of the back. We had a little dimple right there that I've pushed back where it belongs. And now I want to put this piece back. Like working a jigsaw puzzle. I think that's it right there. Yep. Get a little bit of glue. We'll glue that back. A little wood glue. Okay. And I touched up those places with some brown paint. Doesn't match perfectly, but looks a lot better. Well, little change of plan. After looking at that yellow, I just thought that was a little too bright. So painting it this brown, there's a color. And just one coat on all of this. This is the second coat here, so it'll probably take one more coat. But that tones it down. I like that better. And I also painted the CRT surround. I put another coat or two on that, so we took the glass back out. I could have edited the video and took out all of the previous prep and all the work that I did on painting that yellow, but I'm just going to leave it in, decide to make a change. I like that better. That toned it down. And glass back in. These are the original metal feet. And we have two here, but the other two were missing. So I'm just going to remove these two metal feet and replace them with these felt pads. I think I have some of these somewhere, but they're kind of hard on the floor, especially when you got painted concrete like I have. It'll put scratches in it. So we're just going to take them off and put the felt ones on. One thing I like about shellac, to polish it, to make it a little more shiny and give it some protection, just use some carnauba wax or any kind of wax. And I've already rubbed this on, and we just go back and polish it and rub it off. Really simple. So I'm going to do the two sides. I'm not going to do the front yet because I need to put those decals on. Now, here's a couple of photos that I took showing where the original decals were. So we want to get them back in the same position. Here's what I'll be using. You can't buy the decals for this specific set, but the ones I picked out, they're the same size, same color as the originals. First decal will be the on-off volume, and there's the off and there's the volume, and we can cut the on out of the tone on this set of decals. So let's get those ready. All right, that's the way they will go on. All right, the top of the decals should be almost, well, practically even with the bottom of this surround. So have me a piece of tape. The bottom of the decal will just rest on that tape. Center them over the opening. Those three are on. Next will be the brightness and contrast. The original has a circle next to the brightness label that designates that it's the outer control. And as you can see, this one's right opposite. So I'm going to put this circle next to the brightness. Now we'll put the TV FM decals on. All right, I'm good with that. What I like about radio days, usually you get at least 3 sets of decals. So we'll hang on to those and use them on something else. We're to the point now. We slide the chassis in, put the bike on, and I think we're going to be finished. One more thing we need to do on the chassis. This set has the AC interlock with the 2 rivets, I call them, that the AC cord wraps around on each side. So we're going to take this new cord. We need to heat it up where these ends will be more flexible, and hopefully we can push them around those rivets. A lot of people use hot water. I'm going to use a heat gun. Not going to get it super hot, but just flexible enough where we can slip it over those rivets. And I'm going to use this pick once I heat the cord up to pull it over the rivets. So let's see how this works. Okay, we're pretty much in. We got to let that cool down. Definitely not going to come off. All right, let's see how it fits. Let's plug it up and see if it works. And I see a dial light, so yes, it does. All right. Now we have an original looking cord. These cords here will work. That's what I was using before we put the vintage cord with the ears on. These will work. They fit tight. So, you know, in a pinch, that's a solution. Fortunately, I have several of these that I can use. They're new, still with the bread tie on them. There's a few in my stash. I have some more, but I keep these in this drawer. Okay, screws back in the cage. This thing is by no means light, but we're careful. I think we can get it put in there okay. Yep, everything's centered up. Controls are in the middle, so I think that's it. This chassis is so heavy that it goes right back into the spot where it needs to be. Pretty much seated itself in that wood over the years, and just put it back in that place. And those are X-Lite number 14. Plug our speaker in. Put the knobs on.
Oh, Beaver. Your mother and I have been very patient with you, but this habit of losing money has got to stop.
Okay, let's try.
Oh, honey, even with inflation, it takes a while.
Let's try FM. That's actually with no antenna. So picking up pretty good. And our dial is right on it. That's 98.3. And there's 98, 99. Okay, let's go back to TV.
They're loaded for the finals. When he gets back, be sure and tell Stanley I was in. He'll be next, son.
All right, we're working great, so let's get the back put on. And I did put a coat of clear on the back. We still have the 2 screws that we can get started with. Well, that completes the restore on the 1949 Crosley, model 9-424B. Thanks for watching. See you next time. We hope you've enjoyed the video. And if you did, how about giving us a like and subscribe to our channel? Thanks.